All right, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because the Democratic Party is stuck currently dealing with their communist candidates like Francesca Hong and Abdul El Sayed, who are now on what looks like a desperate backpedaling media blitz, all in an attempt to appear more sensible, less radical, and a whole lot more appealing to general election voters. And so what you're currently watching take place is a rebranding attempt, where they sanitize their language, soften the rhetoric, distance themselves from previous positions and associations, all in the hope that the voter simply forgets everything that they said and done up until this point. Yeah, but there just seems to be one problem. They're just not that good at it. That's why even when the liberal media practically hands them an opportunity to clean up the messaging and avoid stepping directly on the political landmine sitting right there in front of them, they somehow still manage to do it anyway. Which brings us to Abdul El Sayed. He gets asked about taxes, ladies and gentlemen, not simply raising them on millionaires and wealthy Americans, but whether ordinary working people could also end up paying more under his agenda. And his answer is essentially yes. I mean, you can't make any of this up. Ladies and gentlemen, who in their right mind goes into a general election, tells working class voters, yeah, by the way, you would be paying more taxes under my agenda if I'm elected? Abdul El Sayed, that's who. In a swing state where he barely won the primary. I mean, most Democrats at least understand the assignment. Even when they plan on spending more money, they'll sit there and say something about affordability to try and dress it up nice to sound good, which is exactly why whenever Democrats start preaching about affordability, you got to have your BS radar on and pay attention to what they're actually proposing. Because frequently the argument becomes, we're going to take more money through taxes, redistribute that money through government programs, and then tell you that you're somehow better off because of what the government is providing in return. That's the debate they actually want to have. And the problem for candidates like Abdul El Sayed is that once you get outside of the activist white liberal college town bubble and start talking to, ordinary general election voters, saying things like, yeah, your taxes might go up, but trust us. It's not exactly an easy sales pitch in this country, especially considering how much waste, fraud, and abuse these programs are found to have already. Check Minnesota, check California, just for examples. And you want more American taxpayer dollars? Yeah, okay. And so we got a lot to break down and get into, ladies and gentlemen. But first, as always, if you are enjoying the content, smash that like button. That's the best way you can tell me. Subscribe to stay locked in with the future videos. Shout out to everybody who watches to the end. And don't forget, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let's jump right into it.
I look at that analysis a little bit differently. Margaret, in Michigan, in my view, Abdul's victory was one of the most extraordinary victories in modern political history. You tell me, have you ever heard of a candidate winning who was outspent 9-1? $60 million in billionaire-funded super PAC money came into that race, half from AIPAC, and yet he managed to win. Now, I think what we are seeing all over this country, from coast to coast, is that working people are sick and tired of being the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a human right. Yep. They're sick and tired of massive income and wealth inequality. Who believes? Now, I know we don't discuss this much in Congress or in the media, but nobody that I know thinks it makes sense that one man in America today, Mr. Musk, owns more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Who believes that we should sustain and maintain a corrupt campaign finance system where billionaires are undermining American democracy? The reason that we're going to win is people, whether you're conservative or Democrat, tired of the status quo and of the massive levels of inequality that exist right now.
Yeah, and so there you have that. And so you got Bernie Sanders once again doing this whole thing where he tries to compare the ultra wealthy individuals like Elon Musk to those who don't have as much. And you know what I can't stand about this? What I really can't stand about this, and this is not even to defend Elon Musk. He doesn't need me to defend him. But you have people like Bernie Sanders who they must think you and I are just plumb dumb stupid. I mean, he really must believe it because he says it so matter of fact. Well, Elon Musk, he's a trillionaire, and I don't know anybody. Like, what are you talking about? Last time I checked, Elon Musk isn't sitting in some ivory tower hoarding his riches. That's how much his valuation is according to his company, the shares, a number of variables. It's not like his liquid cash. That's number one. Number two, he's also employing how many people? Let's not forget that part. Now, I know for these people, the whole democratic socialist, that's their brand. Jobs aren't really a thing. That's not really a priority because daddy government solves your problem. I mean, you need a job because they need to tax you somehow, but that's not really like their priority. You don't really hear them talking about how they need to actually bring more business. I always say this. You don't hear these DSA candidates, these socialists, ever talking about job growth. You don't hear that. You don't talk about the entrepreneur, the business owner. You don't hear that type of language because they don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to actually what it takes to actually grow a productive economy. They just know, hey, we'll offer them some free stuff. Everybody should have free health care. How are we going to pay for it? Semantics. How are you going to pay for it? We'll tell them about taxing the rich now. That's what they'll tell you. But, apparently, as we get into this next clip, Abdul El-Sayed, the Michigan Senate candidate for the Democrat Party, must have missed out on the group chat or something because take a listen to this. Holy crap. Abdul El-Sayed says the middle class will pay more taxes under his socialist healthcare program. And so here he is being interviewed, and with the opportunity to make things clear, this is how he clears things up, ladies and gentlemen, about the whole, it won't just be the rich who are taxed. It'll be also you, regular working class people that the Democrats claim they're fighting for. You're gonna get this tax work too. Take a listen.
Medicare free and universal if you increase taxes. So if you are elected and make this push, would you need to increase taxes?
As I've said across this campaign, I am for taxing billionaires their wealth.
What about people who make less than $1 billion and less than $1 million, though, Dr. El-Sayed? What about people making less than $1 million?
So for the average person, and you look at your W-2, if you're an employee who gets paid every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, after you pay your taxes, the next biggest check that comes off the top of your pay stub is to your health insurance company. So imagine instead of paying that to your health insurance company, whose CEO makes $20 million a year, instead you paid a little bit more in taxes for healthcare that you wouldn't lose if you lost your job or turned 26 or got married or got divorced. I think all of us would be a lot more interested in that kind of a system if we knew that our healthcare would be free at the point of care and would be free without having to worry about losing it in general. So there's an opportunity here, I think, to trade what we give to a big corporation who gets to decide who we get to see and who we don't for a little bit more paid into FICA. And I think that's a trade that's worth making. I think the broader public understands that that's a trade worth making, considering how many people are holding medical debt, a third of all Michigan households right now.
Just to be very clear, you're describing this trade-off. You are effectively acknowledging that people making less than $1 million could see their taxes go up. I just want to be very clear. Is that a yes?
I'm saying that we'd be paying for health care in a different way. Instead of paying a health insurance company whose CEO makes $20 million, I would much rather pay for durable health care into a government, which, of course, we all know provides health care for seniors who need health care the most. So
let's go ahead and break this down, because he's trying to sell you on this idea, number one, that it's free when it's not. Because then he said your tax dollars will pay for it, whether you're rich or not. He made that clear. And so it's not free unless you don't have a job, because he also said that. And so now you have those who are working, who want to work, who are willing to work, paying for those whether they have a job or not. And we all know that everybody wakes up in the morning and doesn't want to mooch off the government, right? Nobody looks to mooch off the government. Nobody's looking for a shortcut. to not have to actually do the work themselves and try and shortcut and scam the system. No, that doesn't happen. Are there things that are wrong with the current healthcare system in place as it stands? Of course there is. We need reform, true. But to believe that government is the issue, let's give the government power over it, give them control. Excuse me if I'm a bit hesitant to want to go that route. Yeah, we need reform. Yeah, you need more price transparency. Yeah, you need to create more of an open market for buyers. Those things can be done without saying, yeah, let's just make the government in charge of it. Let them tax you, and it's mandatory, the tax that is. They now have control over the entire system and who you can see, who you can't see, what level of coverage you get, how much you're being taxed versus how much someone else is being taxed. They're all in charge of that. And we're supposed to say that's the better solution. I'm sorry, just sitting here thinking about that right now. Sounds like a pretty crappy idea. And that brings us over here, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen to this. A Democratic Socialist of America national leader confirmed on live television that her organization's goal is to abolish police and prisons. We know that. I took you guys through the DSA website, so we're keenly aware of that. Then couldn't answer what would happen to a rapist under the proposed system. NBC for Los Angeles anchor Conan Nolan presses Francesca Gill, a DSA National Political Committee member, with a simple scenario. If his daughter were assaulted, what agency would find the attacker and where would he go? Here is Gill's response as you take a listen to this exchange. Check it out.
Your policy agenda on law enforcement is to defund police, ultimately to get rid of police departments, correct?
Well, what I would say is that we're dramatically overspending on police right now.
I understand, but the goal is to defund the police departments so we don't need them in the future.
I think it's what we really want to see is a horizon where folks are not reliant on armed enforcement to meet our public safety needs.
Right, but it says defund police on the website. That's your goal. And also to get rid of prisons and jails, correct?
Yes.
So if my daughter is assaulted and raped, is there any agency that would seek to find her assailant and bring him to justice?
Of course, yeah, of course.
What
absolutely.
would it be if not police, and where would he be if not a jail?
So I guess I really want to avoid getting kind of caught into these hypotheticals and talk more about the reality that we're actually facing right now, which is that we're spending absolutely outrageous amounts of money on police and policing, and we're not spending money on things that actually make people safe and feel safe, which is things like actually well-lit streets. The streetlights in Los Angeles, everybody agrees it's a huge problem.
Only problem with what she said is that it makes absolutely no sense. It's not a hypothetical. That is what happens right now. There are currently individuals who are locked up in jail behind bars because of their attacks on women. And so it's a perfectly fair question to ask, well, if you plan on getting rid of the actual system, the individuals who capture these people, what do you do? Because these people don't disappear, they don't go away. These violent individuals just don't go away because you say poof, police no more. So now what is the agency? What is the placeholder? Answer that question. This is why, at least, I mean, hey, you have actual candidates who are backing off of this far left, off of this, which, I mean, once again, goes to show you exactly just how moronic they are. Because you said it in the first place, defund the police. Like, who thought that would be a good idea? Like, somebody didn't raise their hand the first time somebody said that and said, yeah, nah, I'm not going for that. Listen, I grew up in a not so nice community, and I never said, you know what we need less of? Police. I never once said that. And there was plenty of times where you heard those sirens ringing. And I never said, man, wish they sure wasn't around. And so I don't know what having a well-lit street is going to do to prevent someone who wants to do some dirt from doing that dirt. Now, I get it. Maybe well-lit streets help you feel better when you walking down the street at night. But feeling safe and being safe, those are two completely different things. don't get it mistaken, because the criminals out there committing their dirt will easily remind you. This is also why, in all seriousness, you have to be stuck on stupid if you're listening to what these people say who call themselves democratic socialists. You hear what they say and you say, yeah, that's a good idea. These people sound like they are perfectly logical and rational individuals. Take a listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, because it's really this serious, really. DSA co-chair Megan Romer says, we believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires. She then struggles to explain what that actually means. And so these people can say anything, but then they can't back it up with actual logic. And, well, that's all. We can stop right there. Without actual logic. Take a listen.
But we do believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what does taxing the hell out of them mean?
Yeah, you know, I don't have like a solid, but I think.
But shouldn't you? I mean, if you're the co-chair of the DSA, shouldn't you be more specific than just taxing the hell out of something? What exactly do you mean?
So again, it's democracy, right? And we have to look at what we need to spend and what we need. We don't want to depend on the existence of millionaires because that means people are still getting exploited. So, so yeah, we need to look at what we need to pay for in the interim, what sort of tax base we need for that to happen, and then and build from there.
The Democratic Socialists of America, this organization, is made up of individuals who want to mooch, who want to scheme and scam off the government, who want to take advantage of taxpayer dollars and want to live off of the backs of others and don't want to actually do work themselves. That's what if you look at their platform, their DSA website, they talk about a day without capitalism. Just work as much as you want. You control your labor. Imagine a day without capitalism where you don't have to worry about paying a mortgage because it's a part of the collective. Food, healthcare, all these things are taken care of because in their world, someone else pays for it. They don't have to worry about the cost because someone else will. These people are lazy leeches. That's what they are. They're parasites who are trying to, by any way, hook or crook, convince you that, yeah, it's actually a good idea. But those are my thoughts on the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. As always, smash that thumbs up button if you do enjoy the content. For more, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications for the channel. And as always, until next time.